Oh, hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Nurse Matt here with Outdoor Candy. Let me jump in right away and say happy belated Labor Day weekend, on a holiday weekend. I do apologize for not getting any content out to you sooner. I was out for the holiday visiting friends and family out of town, and unfortunately where I was at, like I said, it was important. You got to get out, you got to spend some time with friends and family, but I didn't get the opportunity to do any fishing out there because there wasn't a body of water, whether it's a lake, a tributary, river, stream, ocean, whatever. I was in the middle of nowhere, and unfortunately, I didn't do any fishing. However, the important thing is I did spend some time with some good friends and my family, which is absolutely necessary. You got to do that. And I also hope all of you had a nice, very happy, safe Labor Day weekend as well and enjoyed it. And now we're kind of back in full swing of things here, starting the week off. So. But without further ado, I kind of want to jump into it. I just wanted to kind of update you where I'm at with these little fishing adventures of mine. I haven't been able to get out recently because, like I said, I was out for the holiday. However, the last 3 weeks, I have been getting out. I've been trying to do some surf fishing for some specific shark. In specific, I want to catch a black tip. I hear they're very tasty. However, the weather hasn't really cooperated. Now, granted, we are in hurricane season in Florida right now. Okay, it does last quite a bit of time. I believe it's September, October, November, kind of the tail end of that is when it kind of tapers off. However, even though we haven't had a hurricane, we've had some really crazy weather and a lot of rain, a ton of rain. Everything's growing like wildfire around here. I'm out mowing the grass like every 2 days, for crying out loud. So but it's also put a hindrance on my fishing. And then with that also comes not only the rain, but the wind. And taking a little kayak, a little boat right off the beach, right off the surf, kind of getting past those breakers, past the sandbars, past the buoy, to kind of get in that deeper water trough area, it can be a little dangerous. The wind has been anywhere from 8 to 14 mile an hour average for the last like 3 weeks on or off. And of course, when I'm working, it tends to be 2 to 4 mile an hour winds during the day. So, and yet the sun is out while I'm working, then on the weekends when I'm trying to get out there to do my thing, it ends up being less cooperative. Sorry, hold on. I don't know if you can hear that, but but the dog is like chewing hard on a bone. Hold on. I'm going to let her have the bone, but I don't know if it's interfering with the audio on this. So 1 second. Yeah. Hey, babe. Come here. Come here. Good girl. Okay, you stay. All right. Okay, sorry about that, guys. She's a happy dog. I'm home, finally. It's been a long day. Excuse me. So, where we're at right now, I've been trying to get out, and it's been a little difficult. And so, it's the few times that I have gotten out, I prefer doing morning fishing just because I don't mind getting up. I have to get up early for work anyways. So I'm usually getting up at 4, 5, 6 o'clock in the morning, whether it's work or going out fishing. So even though I do like sleeping in, getting out there, fishing early in the morning, and then as the sun comes up, it's easier for me. I do like being able to see when I fish, and sharks do feed in the morning, so as well as in the evening. However, it's probably a little bit more prolific when it comes to feeding at night for them, especially right now, which I'll get into that in a little bit because I wanted to give you some education and some information and some research that I've done on it in order to kind of like increase the odds of me catching one, right? So it's all about a numbers game here. And the more you do something, obviously practice makes perfect, so to speak, and consistency, you're bound to land something or catch something. So, however, it's not that I've gone without any strikes or without any, anything from where I was fishing at as far as the possibility of catching a shark. I've had several hits, several strikes. I just haven't been able to get anything in yet. It's very exciting. It's going to happen. But that's where I'm at right now, and that was typically south on the on Gulf Boulevard in the Intercoastal in the St. Pete, Tampa area is where I was at when this happened. So it was down by Pass-a-Grille on the Gulf side, not the Intercoastal side. I tried the Intercoastal; it really didn't pan out for me, and that was actually late at night too. I actually lost a couple of rigs to some snags in there and whatnot. And just went on Amazon and picked up some more, so we're getting ready. But the weather's been crazy. Breakers, like I said, the wind has been out there. I've had 2, 3, 4 foot breakers. So it's been hard to get past the kayak, to get out there, to get past the buoys and to get past the sandbars and stuff like that. So, but I've been trying, but that's where we are right now. And right now it's absolutely a great time to shark fish. Late summer, early fall is pretty much prime season for it. We're at the end of the tarpon run, you get a few stragglers, and then you jump right into the mullet run, okay? So, and just off the top right now, frozen baits do work. I don't know if you guys ever looked it up or you're trying it or not trying it. They do work. I've had luck with them. However, fresh cut bait, absolutely pinnacle. It's pivotal. I mean, it's unparalleled. Okay, so fresh cut bait is the best bait you can get, right? Store bought frozen baits or tackle shop frozen baits work, but frozen baits are going to be less productive than a fresh bait. It is what it is, right? Oily, smelly, greasy, bloody, fresh out the water from whatever you caught. Okay, so that works best. However, I have been using a lot of frozen baits. Yet the fact that the mullet run is about to begin now, I've got my big old 10-foot cast net. I'm going to get out there. I'm going to try to do some of that to see if I can pick up some mullet for this. But right now, the waters are still extremely hot. They're scorching in the Gulf right now, and so that's drawing all the bait fish in. Okay, like I said, end of the tarpon run, beginning of the mullet run, and we're talking March through October, September, November. These times. This is when all these bait fish come in. Okay, so you got the Jack Crevalle, you got the tarpon, you got the mullet, you got the ladyfish. The bonita is another one, not necessarily coming into the shallows like that, but that's another good greasy oily fish. Okay. And there's plenty other bait in the water too, and then you get the greenies and stuff. So there you go. You can throw out there the greenbacks. You cast net for those 3/8 inch mesh cast net, which I did put a video on that. I have a modified version of it. Helps me out, so I don't have to put the darn thing in my mouth because I don't like that. I like my teeth, and I don't like the taste of it. So we tried to modify that. And it works. And anyway, so you can get those, pick those up, and ladyfish love them, right? You throw them out, free line it on 3 or 4 circle hook of some sort or a J hook, and you get that in the surf, let it drift with the surf, and boom, you can get bait that way too. Obviously, it's not going to be mullet. Mullet don't look, I guess you could try to snag mullet if you want. That is one way to do it, but this is going to be ladyfish, Jack Crevalle, so on and so forth. So that does work, okay? Otherwise, cast net for the mullet. But that said, it's a really good time right now, and I wanted to give you some information that I'm going to continue to try, and we're going to try to get some of these mullet, because the mullet are going to be running here. It's the beginning of the mullet run, so that's what we're going to be targeting. So it's ideal to get a large conventional bait casting or a spinning reel, okay, with anywhere from 200 to 400 yards of braid, anywhere from 50 to 80 pound braid, and you want to tether that kind of to like a 200 to 400 pound monofilament or fluorocarbon leader. Anything 2 to 3 feet is kind of ideal, and then pack that, also tether it and tie it up with a steel leader, 200 to 400 pound steel leader as well, to prevent bite offs, that type of thing. And then that 50 to 80 pound braid is then spooled on that big reel, a 6,000 to 10,000 reel, something like that. So this is heavy duty tackle. This is heavy duty gear. This is kind of what you want to do. I've got a Walmart combination and I did have a couple hits on it, and it did stand up to the test of time with respect to whatever I was getting bites from. But I haven't landed anything yet. But so far, it's proven to be reliable. So we'll continue to see how reliable it is once I land a shark. The other thing too is the circle hooks. I would suggest 8 to 10 to 12 aught, even up to 14 aught circle hook. I've used 16, but 8 to 12 is kind of your wheelhouse when it comes to it. And make sure they're not stainless steel. You want to make sure they are steel hooks. This way, if you have to cut, bolt cutters or dehookers or something like this, you can't get it out and you have to cut the line, you have to cut the leader, or you have to cut the hook. This will rust out sooner than something that's stainless steel, obviously. So you want to make sure you do that. Conservation first, right? We want to protect our fishery. So that's another big deal. So make sure you have bolt cutters on you, long needle nose pliers, D-hookers of some sort. This is all gear that you want to have with you if you do run into these beasts, because of course they're going to give you a run for your money. And if you do hook one, they can go squirrely on you. And there's plenty of videos out there of people mishandling sharks, and one thing leads to another, and we don't want that. Working in healthcare, I haven't seen any of that stuff yet, but it could happen, right? So just be careful when you're catching them. The other thing too is you gotta go. It's free at the FWC website, but you gotta get the beach or the shore, the surf fishing license for shark. And then if you do catch a shark, like a spinner or a sandbar or a can't think of it, hammerhead, something like this, where it's illegal to harvest or they're not in season, don't bring them up on the beach. Don't bring any shark up on the beach. Leave them in the water, knee-high, thigh-high water. Try to unhook them there. Be friendly to our fisheries, that type of thing. I'm recommending this because this will protect the fish when you release it in the water, and it also protects you because, like I said, you get them on the beach, it could be unpredictable. You don't know what they're going to do. At least if they're in the water, this way they're still breathing. You're maintaining the integrity of the fish and the fishery. So this is just good handling practice. Okay, evidence based, if you want to call it anything. As far as locations go, like I said, Florida is such a fantastic state. The whole darn peninsula, okay, Atlantic side and the Gulf side, okay, are great for this. All the bait fish are coming in because of the warm water right now. So everything down from the Keys all the way up to the Big Bend on the Gulf side, and then on the Atlantic side, same thing, that big deep shelf, but it's warm water, so it draws all the bait fish in, okay? Even with the mullet run, man, they're in the surf, right? You can catch sharks in the surf. However, you don't even need a kayak for that. But if you want, you can go past the sandbar, past the buoys, past the sandbar, get in that trough, that little deeper water, same thing, okay, depending on what you're looking for, all right? So this is kind of what we're dealing with. Obviously, we're like the tarpon capital of the world, Boca, that type of thing, but even down in Key West, Islamorada, and then, like I said, coming further north and then up into the Big Bend. So you're not without area. There's sharks that are swimming all through up and down this area, especially right now, chasing those bait fish. Okay. Late night is the best time to do this. Sunset to dusk, early hours of the well, not early hours, but late hours of the evening, the PM evening, going into early hours if you want to. But morning works as well too, right before sunset. You want to get into that dark water, right? As far as the species, like I was mentioning before, there are certain species and regulations that right now, obviously you can't harvest them. And I was mentioning, several of these, which are the hammerhead, I believe the spinner, if I'm not mistaken, lemon, these types of things, these species. But there's so many different species of shark that you can fish for that are in the surf right now. Those, as well as bonnethead, as well as blacktip, as well as bull shark, ton of them. So you have the opportunity to catch really anything. In fact, you could even barracuda, for crying out loud, grouper, whatever. There's so many fish that are swimming around in the air right now because of the runs, the tarpon and the mullet run and everything else, ladyfish that are in here, jack balls. So you definitely have your pick. So it's, like I said, the takeaway here is just make sure that you have the gear that you need. That's the important thing. You want to make sure you have plenty of line. They are going to run on you. When you do, you could set it a little bit lighter, make sure that drag is a little bit looser, just so they don't feel the tension and they could take it when they want to, that type of thing. But then when you go to tighten up that drag and set the hook, hold on for dear life because they're going to run on you. So you want to make sure you have plenty of line. Okay, but anyway, without further ado, everything that I just mentioned here is kind of what I'm putting into practice and play as well. So I hope this information helped you out, and I hope you can be successful out on the water, and I hope you can get some fish in the boat. That said, if you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. It does help my YouTube channel grow. It does help the algorithm. And I'll keep bringing you the best content I can for you guys. So thanks again for tuning in. Like I said, I hope you guys all had a great holiday weekend, Labor Day weekend. You got together with friends and family. And stay tuned. We're going to get out and do some fishing soon, hopefully this weekend. All right? Talk to you guys soon.